Robert Plank Show, episode 249. Your uniqueness, your authenticity, your superpower, and your messaging with MaryJo Cranmore. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the program. We're here today with MaryJo Cranmore, and she's a journalist and a storyteller. She's a former Good Morning America producer, and MJ now helps business owners help level up to more visibility by sharing their message via web video, video marketing, and on local and national television news programming. So, MaryJo, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here.
I'm glad that you're here too. And so, we read your bio and we heard a little bit about what you're all about. But I mean, what makes you unique? What makes you different and special?
Wow. Well, I don't know that I am special, but I definitely am different. We really work with our clients to get at the core of their story. What is the thing that is their special? What is the thing that is their unique capability? What's their superpower? And that speaks to be able to really speak to that and to be able to use the language of that are the things that in a toolbox help you speak directly to those people who care. It is like a dog whistle. It is something that if you get it right, you are golden. If you get it wrong, even if you're a click or two off that message, nothing really happens. It's kind of hit and miss. It's frustrating. So, we start with the message is the most important thing first before you go out there doing video or doing any kind of content writing or absolutely before getting on television. You really want to be clear about, where you're coming from.
Okay, and so to make sure that we all kind of understand where you're coming from, can you kind of like give us a case study or something like that of like a client of yours maybe that sort of had some good things to say, but maybe those things weren't, like you said, they were like a click or two away and you kind of got the message right and all that sort of stuff?
Yes, absolutely. I work with a lot of different kinds of companies, mostly business to business service providers, financial, banking. Um, uh, let's see, what's the word I'm looking for? Recruitment, healthcare, technology, just a wide range of those things. And there's one gentleman I'm thinking about who is fabulously talented. He's a financial advisor, but when he was 35, he had always had a dream to be an actor on the stage. And he was very successful at being a financial advisor. And he decided to try and spend the summers acting. And what happened with him was his business grew. And so 12 years of that, his business, even though he took those 3 months off, his business kept growing. So we worked with him to be like, wow, Charlie, you're really talking to people about living their passion. That's what you're doing. It's not necessarily, hey, I'm just a great financial guy, save for the long term, all those boring things that you hear. You've got to be interesting. You've got to break through the fog of what people understand about your business to give them something new, tell them something they don't know. And so we started working with Charlie about using that kind of entertainment. His superpower is humor, for sure. He's done improv, in New York and in LA. So to use those things and then have that be part of your message too. So people are like, wow, you're different. You're standing out from the literally millions of financial advisors out there. And now today, in fact, he is going to be on national TV. We have him on as a guest expert on one of the shows on Fox Business. So he really has been able to level up with that message, draw more clients to him, and the right kind of clients. There's nothing more frustrating than working with the wrong client. And even though it looks like, hey, I've got a full book of business, at any given day, 30% of those people would just walk out of your life if they weren't the right client. So that's the most important thing to remember about this.
Okay, so lots of interesting stuff there. And so in that case there with your client Charlie, where you were trying to maybe figure out like how he can stand out or how he can get noticed and get on the news. I mean, what was the thought process there? Was it like a matter of like taking inventory of like his hobbies or all these different things, or like how do you look at someone and say, well, they're one of all these financial advisors? How do you
Mhm.
sort of pick out those things that make them interesting?
Well, we have a really long, boring process to do that. But the gist of it is that you're really taking a look not only at it's the combination of your skill set. What have you learned, right? What have you gone to school to learn? What have you accomplished? And then what is the unique part of you that you're bringing? What's the, not only the experiences you've had with clients, but what is the unique piece of you that you're bringing to the table to shift people's perspective into such a way that they are highly successful working with you? So we look at a range of these things. Yes, hobbies, absolutely. Charlie wanted to go to college. He went to Colgate. He wanted to go to college, and his dad said, "Hey, what are you going to study?" And he said, "I'm going to go to the theater." And his father said, "Try again." And so Charlie said, "Okay, I'm going to get a finance degree and I'm going to live in the theater," which is exactly what he did. And so that passion for communication really was able to be utilized. Boy, I couldn't really think of anything too disparate things than financial advising and improv. But he is able to bring those two things together because he loves them both. And other people who resonate with that will love that back. And so all the language we use around Charlie, all the videos we create, the scripting, not scripting, the bullet points and things we put forward for what kind of guest he would be on TV, that is all informed by that very initial process. And when you get it, when you understand it, and when you're living that, you really are, it seems effortless once you finally figure that out.
And that part of it where like there's those two disparate things, is that something that's like important, or is that something you go looking for when you're trying to find the magic stuff with these clients, or is this just sort of unique to Charlie's case?
No, it's actually not. I mean, with a lot of the other clients I work with, we're really talking about, like I just said, the couple of things about like your education and, what you love to do, right? Your skill set. But then there's a thing called the superpower. And the superpower is something that you have not necessarily cultivated. You've used it your whole life though. And when people talk about you when you're not in the room, that's generally the thing they say. My superpower is that I'm able to communicate a level of trust with people and they immediately trust me back. I don't know where that came from. I haven't cultivated it over my lifetime, but that's just there. Charlie's innate sense of humor is just there. He has built on that, but he still has it no matter, even if he didn't do acting training. When I work with other clients who are very different, maybe they're a recruiting company or a healthcare company, it is right now, we are in the age in 2017, and this is a way overused word, but the authenticity movement is real. That's a funny sentence. And it is about not being afraid as a company or as an entrepreneur or as a small business owner to allow yourself to be part of the offering. Even if I have a client who builds very high-end, beautiful pools, and Brian, his real superpower is 100 laser-like attention to detail. He's always been like that. And every client he works with, he picks up another little thing. When I work with women, they really like us to clean up at the end of the day and have garbage cans with garbage bags in them and all these little silly things you think are silly, but they mean so much to those clients. And what that facilitates is word of mouth, good PR, and good, I always say to them, what do you want people to say about you when you're not in the room? That's what we're going for, and that's what this whole process informs.
Okay, and so sort of along those lines, like so there's that so you mentioned that, there's what do you want people to say when you're not in the room, and then a few minutes ago you mentioned what do people actually say when you're not in the room. So how do you go about finding that for a client? Do you have the client like ask people, or do you observe them, or how do you figure out what someone's saying about them when they're not in the room, to hear it, if that makes sense?
It totally makes sense. Most of the clients I have, I've only worked with a few startups, and that's a challenge because when you're starting up, you know what you want people to say, but you have no real capability of measuring or tracking or researching what people actually are saying. And when you're a, established business or when you've been around for a while, it's a heck of a lot easier to find that. It's a lot harder to change it. obviously, than it is to find it out. But what we usually do is I do a lot of testimonial. I really ask every single client I work with, how can I capture testimonials for you? Because I personally know that in the beginning of the internet, in the beginning of all of social media, what people find important, I would rather get a recommendation from a woman in Toledo than pay attention to what Madison Avenue is telling me. And I know that to be true. 10 years ago, I worked for a large agency, and our sister agency was Ogilvy and Mather, so we were in New York a lot. And a couple of the clients were smart enough to be like, that's awesome. We really want to start putting a lot of money into social media because we believe in the word of mouth so much. We believe in listening to what people are saying to us. We believe in immediately go when people have problems or whatever. That is the value. That is the most important part of the day. And so it's a philosophy to find out what people are saying about you. It's an ongoing process. We help the businesses sort of make that a top 3 priority, to really understand that it's not just about doing a good job. It's how you're doing the good job that also counts.
That makes a lot of sense. So you talk to those people and get the language and the wording along with what people are saying about the person. And so if you figure out, if the person's strength is that, they trust, someone trusts them, or they have the attention to detail, or whatever that superpower is, what's the next step? Is it a matter of then like go and make some press releases or some content marketing or a book, or like what do you do for your clients once you figure out the superpower?
Right. We go through the messaging and superpower stuff as a matter of course. I don't even really I don't really set that aside as even a product that we offer, a service that we offer, because we do it with everybody. We just naturally do it. And so once that's done, the roadmap becomes pretty clear. If we need to work on the messaging piece, then that's the project we need to do. And then typically I will follow on into a video. I'm a journalist and a documentary producer by my degree. And so what I'll do is I'll work with them to get on camera. We'll make a bunch of videos. We'll elevate them in terms of their social media and what they're saying out there, and simultaneously go out and shoot a lot of testimonials for them so that it supports what they're saying. And once that all happens, not every client wants to be on national TV, okay? There are quite a few who would like to be on local TV, and it's really the same process. But I have found that there are 2 kinds of clients in this world, the kind of clients who want to be on TV and the clients who don't. And so it's certainly not a necessity. I really believe that social media, my main thing right now is everything is a screen. Everything is a television, right? Your phone, your iPad, the actual TV, it is all coming together. And even right now, everything is a screen. Everything's a TV screen. So we can utilize whatever level of impact you want. I believe the on-air piece, when you're interviewed by a journalist or when you're interviewed for a segment on, CNBC or whatever, those things have powerful impact because we as a culture believe that's a stamp of approval. It is and it is, because the level of credibility people have to get to that place is substantial. They won't interview just anybody. They won't, and so it's up to us to really build that credibility for our clients to get them there. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think so. So basically, there's so once people figure out that, or you figure out that superpower with them, then you kind of get them on one of those 2 tracks. Either if they don't want to be on TV, but they still need to sort of have that social media, make like video stuff. But if they do want to be on TV, then that's a whole next level for them.
Right. And press releases, I got to say that I think the most important thing to know about that is, I worked in PR, an agency a long, long time ago. I did PR for Ross Perot, if you can believe it. This was after the presidential run. And at that time, it was about making the news and putting out press releases. And now, since the news cycle is so much more like a fire hose, what we encourage clients to do is to watch television and take in information, and then how is it related to what you're doing in the world? How are we able to hook you on to a story? So the jobs report comes out. What's your perception of that? Is it connected? As a financial advisor, it certainly is. People who work in the academic world, what is going on there? So press release, you don't need to make the news. Making the news is a lot harder to do than just hooking on to stories in the news already. And that's the primary secret of getting yourself out there in media, and understanding that that's what social media also is demanding of you. What's your take? Just like in sports, right? Sports radio, I listen a lot. Pats fan, ready for the Super Bowl, realize. And it's about what is your fresh take on what's happening. That's all anybody cares about right now. And if you can remember that as a business owner, then you're able to really be ahead of the game. Because I don't think most business owners or entrepreneurs even really understand that process.
Awesome. And that's really great to hear too, because like if people are like you said, if someone's just an academic or a financial advisor, and some news item happens, they might be thinking, well, what do I have to say about it? What does little old me have to say about it? But if it's a matter of, well, what's your fresh take as this kind of person, then that seems a lot more helpful as far as getting someone to get their confidence be enough to go out and do these things.
Right. I mean, you don't have to, you know, I when I work with businesses and I talk about, I don't even really talk about PR. I talk about visibility. And I just say, look, you don't, you know, they say, well, what news story can I make? Hey, we opened up a new branch or we hired a new person. No, that is not it. What you're doing is you're putting out into the world a fresh perspective. That's what you have to offer.
So when people are making these fresh perspectives, or they're making these media appearances and things to talk and promote themselves, are you seeing like any kind of like huge mistakes people are making when they're trying to be visible? It sounds like you have, since there's some laughing
Oh
going on.
God, yeah, that wakes me up in the middle of the night for you to say that. But I'll tell you, it is. I see more what the good okay, so the good thing about this is what people need to understand, like we just spent an entire morning, 4 hours preparing for a hit this afternoon on one of the national cable channels. And I told the client, I said, here's the most important thing to remember, that at 3:55 when you're on the air, none of this may matter. None of anything that we prepared for may happen. And the best thing you can do is just let go and just be yourself, listen to the question and answer thoughtfully. And don't get all, and this works for video too. When I interview clients, they're like, do I need to, memorize a script or anything? No, you know this stuff. It's not like you're coming into class on the first day and you don't know anything. You know this stuff. So trust yourself, trust and breathe. You want to get a lot out there, just stay within your swim lane. Stay within the bounds of the question. What have they asked you? You're trying to help the people on the other side of that camera. If you remember that and just be yourself, you'll be fine. Otherwise, people make mistakes because they thought they had a really good line about something and they can't remember it or something like that. It screws them up. This is not the last time you'll be on TV, so just let it go.
Awesome. That sounds like good advice. So don't necessarily try to be catchy or clever. Just keep it simple, answer the question, stay in your question lane.
You can't. I mean, eventually, like once you get used to it, like my partner used to be an anchor on CNBC, and he was on Bulls and Bears every week, and he was also doing a lot of video interviewing of clients, and same the things as I've been doing. Once you get used to it and comfortable, then you're going to be able to remember those snappy little phrases. But the best thing you can do when you're first getting on camera for television or for video work to get your perspective out there is put yourself 100% in the place of helping that person on the other side. If you can stay there, then no matter what you say is going to be awesome.
Great. So it sounds sort of like it's a matter of like crawling before you run. If you can be helpful, then that's the bulk of it, and then if you want to be clever or have your sound
Yeah.
bites later, that's like the icing on the cake.
Yeah, and you'll get there. I mean, I see the folks on MSNBC and on CNN and Fox and stuff who have been on week after week after week. And after a while, it becomes like they're sitting around having lunch with their friends. You know, like they get it. They're used to it. It takes a while for people to get there. But that's why, some of the clients we work with have had on stage experience or have had some kind of thing like that, because that's really a treasure.
Awesome. And what I like about our discussion today is that a lot of what it seems like it's been a recurring theme of like it's okay to screw up. It's okay if you're not perfect because you're not going to have just your one media appearance. You're not just going to have your one, radio or TV thing. Like you're going to do these over and over again and get slightly better over time. So that sounds really encouraging. And so I don't want to keep you here for too long, but I want to make sure that everyone knows, all about who MaryJo is and what you're up to. So can you tell us about your websites or where you want listeners today to head to right now?
Absolutely. I have a couple of websites. Like I said, I do a lot of video work with clients and a lot of consulting work on this messaging process. And so, MaryJoCranmore.com, very simple. I am the only one. And I said that to my business coach, MaryJo Cranmore, I'm the only one under that name. She said, I don't believe you. And it's true. I am the only one. And so MaryJo, if you could just remember not to put an E on it, you'll be fine. And that's where to go. The other website we have, my partner, Bob Sellers, the former CNBC anchor, I'm former Good Morning America. Together, we have something called Message to Media. Message to the number two media.com is our website where people can go and understand, what we're sort of up to and how that all works. And we are very, very happy to have people call us and ask us questions because you know what? Sometimes people just want to get on local TV, and that's fine. And it's the same exact process. And it's also a lot less scary sometimes to be on local TV, and we can certainly be of assistance in that way too.
Awesome, great stuff. So everyone should go right now to MaryJoCranmore.com and message number two media.com. And what I also like about what we talked about today, MaryJo, is that you mentioned that people are in all kinds of different walks of life, like people who make pools or financial advisors or whoever. So anyone listening, no matter what niche industry you're in, whatever your specialty is, you need to get yourself out there more, whether it's national TV, local TV, whatever. So go and check out MaryJo's websites because you need your business to grow, and so getting on TV and getting more exposure can and will do that. So MaryJoCranmore.com and message2media.com. And MaryJo, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Want to listen to more fantastic episodes of The Robert Plank Show? Subscribe to us at robertplank.com/iTunes and browse past episodes at robertplank.com.